Billy Casper, one of the most celebrated golfers in PGA Tour history. An amazing 51 Tour victories, including 2 U.S. Opens and a Masters Championship. But did you know? He's regarded as the best putter to ever have rolled a ball. Billy Casper, welcome to Match Play, and thank you so much for being with me. It's a privilege and an honor. There were 3 people that I really wanted on the show, and we've had a great lineup of guests, from players to celebrities alike. But I wanted to have Kenny Perry and Tom Lehman, and I wanted Billy Casper. And I remember you from the Olympic Club last summer when you were signing your book. You were so kind, and we had a great talk around the water cooler for the radio show, and I got a chance to get to know you, and I thank you so much for today.
Well, I thank you for the opportunity to get here and to meet and visit with a lot of my friends through the camera here in the Phoenix area and the surrounding area. And in fact, I have several grandchildren and children that live here in the area now.
All right, Billy, I have so much to talk to you about, and I know the fans want to, and the viewers want me to get to it, and I want to ask you how you got started in golf. Tell me about your childhood and putting in the dark. What about that story?
My parents were married when they were very young, and they had me when I was young, and it was during the Depression, and my grandfather was a merchant with a mercantile store in central New Mexico, which is very close to Silver City, and through his business he was able to lease a farm, a ranch, and most of the children at one time or another lived and worked on the ranch. It seemed that was the haven for them. When they moved away and things weren't working right for them, they would move back to the ranch. And my grandfather was about 6'5" and weighed about 400 pounds, and my grandmother was about 5 foot, maybe under 5 foot, and she had been injured in an automobile accident, and she had one leg shorter than the other, and she limped around, and we lived with them periodically. Mm-hmm. And he got to be such a tyrant that he ran the kids away, and they'd go away for a while, and they couldn't survive, and then they'd come back, and then they'd go through the same process. And I can remember as a 5-year-old that I wandered the cow pastures with 2 dogs, and we chased rabbits, squirrels, and whatever we could chase, and it was a great experience for a young kid. And
but later
I actually started hitting golf balls in the cow pastures.
Okay.
On my grandfather's ranch when I was 4.5, 5 years of age. And my dad and my uncle, Virgil, got interested in golf, and they utilized the red ant that is prevalent here in the Southwest in bringing gravel and sand out of the ground and making ant hills, and they would get rid of the ants, and then they would spread that gravel and sand out, and they would make tees and greens.
Wow.
And after they finished their chores on Grandpa's ranch, we'd go out and play those 3 holes, and that's where I struck my first golf ball. Had no idea what it would lead to in my life. And we moved back to California when I was probably 5 or 6, and my dad worked at hard labor, and my mother worked for the telephone company. And when I was about 10 or 11, we moved within 3 blocks of the San Diego Country Club, and I decided, my parents were out of the house at 7 in the morning. What's a 10 or 11-year-old going to do? So I decided to start caddying. It was one of the great decisions I made in my life.
You went to San Diego Country Club and started caddying
Right.
at 10 or 11 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Did the loop.
And really could not legally caddy because you had to have a work permit in California, and you had to be 12 years of age to get a work permit. Here I'm 11. And I'm finding golf balls and selling golf balls to the members, see. And a lady.
Selling their own balls
yeah,
back.
Selling their own balls back to them. And a lady took pity on me And she told me, I play 3 times a week and at certain times. And she said, meet me on the second tee and you can carry my bag till the 17th, through the 17th green. So I'd carry the bag for 16 holes and she gave me 75 cents. And I usually had 2 new golf balls that I had found and sell her to her. So I made $1.25, 3 times a week. And that was a ton of money for
plus you played cards.
10 or 11-year-old.
Yeah, for a 10 or 11-year-old. Plus you played cards with the other caddies.
Right.
All the way until late at night, dark. Pennies and nickels and dimes, you said. But then you putted in the dark.
On the way home.
On the way home. Tell me about that.
I'd stop on the 16th green or the 15th green and putt in the dark, and I would walk to where I could see the hole, and then I would back off and keep that as a mental image. And I would walk back and back and back, and then when I got to my ball, then I would still have that as a mental image, and then I would putt, and I didn't see any of the impurities in the green, so I'd put a good stroke on it, and I could get the ball pretty close to the hole. And at a young age, I had a very good putting stroke. In fact, my first tournament I ever played in was in the San Diego area, and it was during World War II. And my dad entered me in the tournament. And I had a 24 handicap at the San Diego Country Club because it was a grass golf course and I couldn't get the ball to go very far when I hit it in the fairway or in the rough. And this golf course was built on the side of the hills and it was dirt and hard dirt. And if you could get overspin on the ball would roll forever. And so we played the first round and I shot 80. And I had a 24 handicap. That was a net 56. And the sponsors of the tournament gave my dad back my entry fee. That's my first experience with tournament golf.
We'll be back with more match play right after these messages.
Do you like Tour Edge?
I love Tour Edge.
This is seriously high tech.
And they're long, right, Duff?
Built in the USA?
Oh, I love that.
I need forgiveness.
Did I mention these puppies are long, really long?
You know why I love Tour Edge? It's because I win with it. Pound for pound, nothing comes close.
We all love comfortable and good-looking golf shoes, but what if changing your brand could actually help your golf game?
I put the squares on. I gained 5 miles an hour club head speed with my driver. My handicap's down to a 14 from 18 and a half.
When I noticed with the squares, they were comfortable, I immediately felt more stability.
These shoes are designed with the latest performance technology and engineered to give you increased balance and stability. And in testing, they're proven to help you add distance. You'll hit it squarer, sweeter, straighter and longer. I love the look of them, and with the extra width, they're the most comfortable golf shoes I've ever worn. To feel good and play my best, I wear squares. Now you can wear them too. Just go to getsquares.com to find out more. That's getsquares.com.
Hi, I'm Bill.
And I'm Kathleen, and we're the owners of American Vision Windows.
You know, it's been 20 years since we started American Vision Windows.
And we're still revolutionizing the home improvement industry, one customer at a time.
In celebration of 20 years, American Vision Windows is partnering with Simonton Windows to create our very own exclusive window.
And now we're introducing the Inspiration Collection, so see the difference that new windows can make in your home.
No payments, no interest up to 12 months, or payments as low as $99. AmericanVisionWindows.com.
And now back to match play with your host, Ray Adams.
You went on to the University of Notre Dame, and then you went to the Tour, and you had several life-changing experiences during your years on the PGA Tour, Billy. Very quickly, though, of course, you won the U.S. Open in 1959 and 1966, but you said that you felt that of all of your wins, 51 wins, you felt that first U.S. Open at Wingfoot was maybe your greatest victory.
Well, you know, when I went out on the tour, I wanted to win the Open.
Why the Open and not the others?
It was one of the motivating factors in my career, because here I am playing at Wingfoot, and I'm staying with a friend who was an oral surgeon who was in the Navy with me. He was an officer. He lived in Elizabeth, New Jersey. And Thursday, I went up and played a practice round the week before the U.S. Open. And I came back and I said, Joe, if ever I win the Open, it's going to be this week, because the golf course just fit me perfectly.
So you just had a
And
feeling?
I had a feeling from the beginning.
Now, were you hitting that power fade in those days?
I was fading the ball, yes.
And hitting everything in the fairway.
I had
making
control.
all the putts.
I had control. And in the practice rounds the next week, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, for some reason, this dumb kid decided he was going to lay up on the third hole, a 215-yard par 3, with a large sand trap on the left and a large grass bunker on the right, a very narrow green, and the green sloped very, very profusely from back to front. And if you hit the ball pin high, right or left, you might not make bogey on the hole. You might make a double bogey. And I decided that I was going to lay up with a 5 or a 6 iron all 4 days, and I did. And I made 4 pars, and I won the tournament by 1 shot over Bob Rosberg. And Rosberg was mad at me until he left the face of the earth. He's somewhere up there, and he might still be mad at me.
He's still mad at you.
Yeah.
Well, you
and
said
that changed my life.
It did, because you said the phone rang and many endorsements, and that's where you began to know that you were going to be able to really take care of the family.
Right. And that was my main goal. You know, the first 21 pages in the book are a presentation by Jim Parkinson, who was the one that was the financer of the book.
Yeah.
And being a trial attorney, he makes a case with all the statistics that were uncovered by Lee Benson through the archives of the PGA Tour. And there's some statistics there I knew nothing about, and they amazed me.
There are some amazing statistics in the book. And Billy, one of the statistics that is so important for people to know is that between 1964 and 1970, even though Arnold Palmer and Gary Player and Jack Nicklaus, the big three, had been marketed and were overshadowing everybody anywhere in golf worldwide, you beat them as far as winning more tournaments than Nicklaus and more than Gary Player and Arnold Palmer combined during those 6 years. I believe it's 27 wins, a total of 51 PGA Tour wins and 68 professional wins worldwide. So the statistics in the book are fabulous, but that one is one that really caught me, because I want to ask you, when you were inducted into the World Golf Hall of Fame, they said that you had a very quiet demeanor and that you were considered the most underrated player in golf history because of the big three. Talk about that.
Well, you know, the big three came out of Mark McCormick. He had a television show which was called The Big Three.
Yes.
And I was one of the players that was with Mark McCormick originally.
Yes, he signed you.
And I was the first player that left Mark McCormick of any of the players. And he really never forgave me for many, many years. But in the latter part of his life, we went on a cruise together, in which I lecture with a cruise company and do a couple cruises a year with them and play golf with the passengers and lecture and have such a great time. We became very close again because he was on that cruise, and I recognized him, and we had such a great time together. So our relationship was mended toward the end of his life. But to go to the statistics, the one that really amazed me, because I just went out and played golf every week. My family, I had 3 children. Then I had decided that we my wife and I decided that we needed more children. She couldn't have them. She was told by 3 doctors she couldn't. And we wound up adopting 6. And then after 16 years, she proved 3 doctors wrong, and we had 2 more. So we had a total of 11 children.
Yes, yes.
And, but as our family grew, my main goal was to make sure that I had enough money to take care of my children. And that was my main goal. I didn't pay any attention to any of the statistics or anything, but I wanted to play the best I could play each week.
You wanted to win, you said in the book, I wanted to win, and I wanted to win right now. And you said one of your, I don't know if the right word is regret, you can help me, but you said that you had a couple. And as you look back on your career and you wrote the book, you said that you wished you'd gone to the British Open earlier,
right,
because you knew you would have won it. And the other thing you said is that you wanted to win and win right now because you were taking care of a large family and you wanted to make the money to do that.
Yep.
And so you didn't focus on the majors so much as just winning week to week.
You know,
Talk about that.
I played in every tournament like it was the most important tournament. I wasn't the type of player that Nicklaus was, that guided and directed his schedule for the majors. I wanted to win the majors. I wanted to win the Open. 4 years, in 4 years I won the Open. And then when I had the opportunity to play in the Masters, I wanted to win the Masters. Mm-hmm. And once I won the Open once, I wanted to win it a second time. And so I was able to accomplish. I wanted to win the PGA, and I didn't win the PGA, but I did finish 3 times second in the PGA. Mm-hmm. And several years ago, a few years back, I received the Distinguished Service Award from the PGA, the highest honor. And in visiting in one of their press conferences, I said, you know, I finished second 3 times. I think I should have maybe a part of the handle of the Wanamaker Trophy. And but anyhow, what I accomplished was just amazing. And that statistic that I was going to bring up was the PGA commissioned Al Barco to do a study on a 3-pronged criteria of players from 1900 to 1990. And when Lee Benson found the book in my library, I had never even looked at it. He said, where do you think you finished? And I said, oh, I have no idea, maybe in the top 10. He said, you're totally wrong. You finished tied for 4th with Hogan as the best player from that period of time. And they gave it 4th to Hogan because he won more major championships than I. So I was the 5th best player during that entire time. And it was a statistic I had no idea.
We'll be back with more match play right after these messages.
What's the difference between good and great? Good treats you like a customer. Great treats you like a friend. From saving you haircut details and clip notes to saving you time with online check-in, Great Clips makes your life easier, just like a great friend should. Great Clips, it's gonna be great. What's the difference between good and great? Good tries to get it right every time. Great actually does. With clip notes, we save your haircut details so you always get exactly the look you want. Great Clips, it's gonna be great.
You know, being able to, tee it up and look down at your square toes and see exactly where you're lined up. It's not only great on the range, but really nice on the course. Being able to have an extra tool is great on the tee box. With the square-toed front, not only is it great for my alignment, but I just have a lot of room, and I just feel really comfortable. Think of these shoes more as equipment as opposed to apparel.
Phoenix youth face barriers daily that prevent them from transitioning into well-adjusted young adults. Many face poverty, family instability, and much more. The longer these youth go without help, the less likely they are to become successful adults. The Elevate Phoenix model has proven effective in changing these trends and transforming the lives of our city youth. So we invite you to join us to elevate our future leaders.
Bobby Jones, 30 years of classic style for the modern man, now brings you the Jones Performance Cotton Polo. Lightweight and luxurious cotton hand feel with moisture-wicking comfort. The Jones Performance Cotton Polo is engineered with an exclusive blend of carefully selected cotton and the optimal balance of modal and spandex. It's the perfect combination of classic styling and modern fabric technology. Designed for comfort, engineered for performance, and built to last. Look good and stay comfortable, whether you're out on the town or out on the course. The Jones Performance Cotton features a 3-button placket with the iconic Bobby Jones player embroidery. For superior comfort, style, and versatility. Get it all in the Jones Performance Cotton Polo.
The work that makes our courses playable also protects a diverse ecosystem of wildlife, and it's all done by your golf course superintendent. Return the favor. Say thanks today.
And now back to Match Play with your host, Ray Adams.
Another interesting piece from the book that I learned, Billy, was that you are the second player in golf history to win $1 million. After Arnold Palmer, Billy Casper was the next player to win $1 million, not Jack Nicklaus.
Well, see, Jack didn't come on the tour until 1962. And, of course, Arnold and I came on in 55. He at the beginning of 55, and I in the middle of 55 when I got discharged from the United States Navy.
You won the $1 million, and the press told you after you won the golf tournament that you had surpassed the $1 million mark.
Right. And that happened in the LA Open in 1970. Took me 14 years to win $1 million, and you watch the money break down, and the player wins well over $1 million every week.
Every week they win $1 million. That's correct. Billy, there's a couple more things I want to talk to you about as far as your major championship record, and that's the 1966 U.S. Open win at the Olympic Club. Tell me about beating Arnold Palmer when he had a 7-shot lead over you. You came back from behind, and you won the U.S. Open. Arnold was devastated by that loss. And he didn't talk about it for many, many, many years. And then he did talk about it one day, and you were in the room. What did he say?
Just a few years ago, we were in each other's company at a tournament, and he talked about the putting that went on the back nine, you know, and what great putting it was. And it was the first time he'd ever talked in front of me about the Open in '66. And here on the cover of the book, if you show them the cover, that's a 35-foot putt I hold on the 11th green for a birdie while Arnold was scoring bogey. He had a 2-shot lead. We were tied. And if you look at the people here in the background, you can actually see the ones that were rooting for Arnold Palmer and the ones that were rooting for me. You know, there's another thing about the book. Arnold, Jack, and Gary wrote the foreword to the book. We asked them if they would write the foreword, and they were gracious enough to write the foreword. But one of the very interesting things is the back cover of the book, a picture of myself and Arnold and Gary and Jack in our green jackets at the Masters. And a year ago, last April, I asked if they would stand and we could take the picture, and I told them that it would be on the back of the book, and they were gracious enough to do that. And so they're really a part. They're such a part of this book.
Well, they're a part of your entire life.
And they're such a part of my entire life. And I think there's a scripture in the Book of Mormon that came about through King Benjamin, who lived 400 years before Christ. And he said that when we are in service of our fellow beings, we are but in service of our God. And if we recognize that in our life, where we can take a program like you have, and these gentlemen that film it, and bring such joy and enjoyment to the people.
And these people listening to you, Billy, sharing your joy, sharing your career, and now sharing your tears, I tell you, they're just as grateful as I am to be with you today.
Great to be with you.
Unbelievable, Billy Casper.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Oh my God. I love you, Billy.
Love you.
We all love comfortable and good-looking golf shoes, but what if changing your brand could actually help your golf game?
I put the squares on. I gained 5 miles an hour club head speed with my driver. My handicap's down to a 14 from 18 and a half.
When I noticed with the squares, they were comfortable, I immediately felt more stability.
These shoes are designed with the latest performance technology and engineered to give you increased balance and stability, and in testing, they're proven to help you add distance. You'll hit it squarer, sweeter, straighter, and longer. I love the look of them, and with the extra width, they're the most comfortable golf shoes I've ever worn. To feel good and play my best, I wear squares. Now you can wear them too. Just go to getsquares.com to find out more. That's getsquares.com.
Do you like Tour Edge?
I love Tour Edge.
This is seriously high tech.
And they're long, right, Duff?
Built in the USA? Oh, I love that. I need forgiveness.
Did I mention these puppies are long, really long?
You know why I love Tour Edge? It's because I win with it. Pound for pound, nothing comes close.
What's the difference between good and great? Good treats you like a customer. Great treats you like a friend. From saving your haircut details and clip notes to saving you time with online check-in, Great Clips makes your life easier, just like a great friend should. Great Clips, it's gonna be great. What's the difference between good and great? Good tries to get it right every time. Great actually does. With clip notes, we save your haircut details so you always get exactly the look you want. Great Clips, it's gonna be great.